you never tell your clients to stop eating sugar.
Real culprit of every health disease is not so much as sugar, but the desserts.
One food that absolutely nobody should eat.
Diet Coke, oh my god, it's acid, pure acid. You don't make bhujiyas at home. You don't know how many times they've used the same oil to fry the bhujia. If it is 100 grams of bhujia, it has 50 grams of oil.
Ozempic and Mounjaro.
It's like advent of a computer or the phone.
Can you reverse PCOS with diet?
Yeah.
Can Indians with these balanced diets get enough protein?
When you're making your menu, first put your proteins.
What is some food product that everybody thinks is very healthy but is actually not?
So I don't believe in veg juices. Even fruit juices not as much.
Indians always have a lot of fat around their tummies.
India is a primarily vegetarian country. A lot of people have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Which kind of oil to have?
Peanut oil, avocado oil, which is very healthy, then rice bran oil. There is zero cholesterol in nuts and zero cholesterol in coconut oil. Most of the Indian mithais are very healthy.
My lunch, dinner will like move around a lot.
Why would you shift your time? But of course, these kind of situations happen to me too.
I thought that the thing I'm going to learn and my takeaway from this episode is going to be that I need to reduce eating sugar. But the first thing that you said is that you eat sugar and you never tell your clients to stop eating sugar. That's very surprising to me.
Of course, sugar, as you know, is damaging to your skin, and of course, it ages you faster. What is the trade-off? If you're not taking sugar and if you're reaching out for, say, no sugar desserts or like keto cupcakes, etc., then that's heavier, right? What
Hmm.
you should be doing is minimizing the sugar intake, okay, and maybe not taking really extremely chemical based sugar, which is white sugar. Go for like little like khan sugar, jaggery. There are many versions of sugar which has more nutrition and less processed. So that's what I
Okay.
believe. And your brain literally runs on sugar.
Okay.
And sometimes when I have very intense days of working, I do take sugar in extra tea coffees where I take put sugar.
How much sugar is okay to have?
Anyone who's in a weight loss, they get 2 teaspoons. Diabetics also 1 or 2 maximum. And if they say they don't mind knocking it off, I said I'm very happy, knock it off. Go for monk fruit extract. Drop mithai, desserts, ice cream, and aerated drinks. Have your tea coffee with sugar. I don't
Okay.
mind.
Okay.
What is the trade off? Like they are going to have a sugar free dessert, which is going to be 200 calories minimum, vis-a-vis 2 teaspoons of sugar, which is just going to be 40 calories.
Sugar-free dessert you wouldn't recommend? Because
No.
I thought that eating that is better than having other things that have sugar.
Desserts are actually something everyone should be saying no to. You take any dessert, any Indian mithai, ice cream, chocolates, or you take any like cupcakes
Hmm.
or donuts.
Hmm.
Everything is loaded with fat, which is of bad quality.
Hmm.
Okay, but certain Indian mithais are good. Your body requires sugar for brain functioning or for energy. You should just give your body sugar in form of maybe dates or maybe just a cup of tea.
But I have to tell you my story. I used to eat a lot of sugar, and when I done my test reports, my vitamin D came very low. So, like all Indians, so I took the injections because they told me that
It
even the
was so low.
medicine will not impact you. You need to take the injections. After I took the injections, my sugar cravings went down, and I was just looking at the doctor, and I was like, if I knew that my sugar craving is coming because of such a big deficiency in my body, I would have just done that before only.
That's such a fantastic question you asked because, Alina, I'll tell you how is vitamin D related to the sugar craving. As soon as you eat a meal, there is glucose produced in your
Hmm.
blood. Now, that glucose sends signal to pancreas, ki listen, produce insulin. Why does it need insulin after the glucose is floating in the blood? Because the glucose to turn into energy, they have to enter the cell, every cell.
Hmm.
Now, every cell has a door.
Hmm.
Now, that door can only be opened by the insulin.
Okay.
So, the insulin has to recognize the cell, open the door so the glucose can enter and burn as ATP.
Okay.
That is the whole pathway of glucose and insulin. Now, the people with insulin resistance or D3 deficiency or genetic condition because of their parents or obesity,
Hmm.
their insulin are either faulty or the cell door is not at its place or it's wonky. So then both key and the door, they don't recognize each other, and the doors don't open for many of the cells. So the craving remains there. Glucose is there, it's not turning into energy. That's how the craving of desserts keep happening to people who are insulin resistant, or you're constantly craving desserts
Hmm.
or sugar,
Hmm.
or people who are diabetic. So it's very hard for me to tell diabetics, listen, don't have sugar. I said, take 2 teaspoons. Don't have mithai.
And they are okay with it. Does that help?
Actually, we are known to reverse diabetes. We have stopped insulin for so many people. We have stopped medication, diabetic medication for so many people. They have lost oodles of weight. Also, we have prevented diabetes for thousands by checking out how far they are away from becoming a diabetic by checking their insulin levels before.
Prior. Okay.
Yeah, prior. Checking their family history of diseases, if they are, like, parents are diabetic. So first test we will do is insulin resistance test, and HSCRP, which is the inflammation marker, and their fatty liver, because they are also prone to fatty liver, because all this glucose which is roaming around not being utilized deposits as fat in your liver. So you have fatty liver, then you have abdominal fat where the fat gets deposited. All these are the symptoms of insulin resistance, and the darkening of the skin, then pigmentation, acanthosis, and the skin tag.
You have a lot of clients that have come to you that were overweight and you've helped them lose weight. In all of the cases that you've seen, what is the one problem that people cannot overcome by themselves that they have to come to you for?
Reason for obesity, you'll be shocked, is hormonal imbalance for many of them. So we take a whole list of blood tests, we take a whole list of their genetic ailments, we understand what time they're eating what and where they are eating and what quantity. Then we understand what is their exercise time and how much they sleep. When we have all this data up with us, then we formulate a diet.
Okay.
Understanding. So then we find the real culprit. What is the real culprit of their obesity? Is it their lifestyle? Is it the wrong timing of the meal? Is it the wrong combination of the meal? Is it the hormones? So in 70 to 80% of the cases, it is hormonal imbalance.
Even if you find out now what is the hormonal changes, then they have to fix that through a doctor or through diet.
So the hormones which can go wrong and which can be fixed with the diet, as well as lifestyle correction, as well as medication. So then we consult with the doctor with them.
Okay.
And with my nutritionist present and the doctor present, endocrinologist, and we tell them, like, these are the deficiencies and these are the vitamins, of course, we prescribe, but rest of the things we need a doctor. So they go to the one of the best doctors, or we consult on their behalf, and we get the medication on track. We tell them the reason of your obesity is this.
Okay.
And then we, of course, for everything, whether it's hormonal, we have to give a balanced diet. So the trend which I've seen in the diet is either they are this side of spectrum or they are 180-degree this way. Same thing goes for the exercise.
Okay.
Either they are eating very clean or they are eating too much junk,
Okay.
ordering Swiggy. And like one client I just yesterday consulted said, how can you tell me not to have bhujia? I was supposed to take only 15 minutes for that consultation. I took 45 minutes.
Because they were like, how can I not have bhujia?
Yeah, you don't make bhujias at home. You don't know how many times they've used the same oil to fry the bhujia. Now, I told him, suppose you have this much bhujia, which is say 100 grams. Okay. I asked him, do you know how much oil it has? Because I spoke to those companies, right? If it is 100 grams of bhujia, it has 50 grams of oil. You know what is 50 grams of oil? 10 teaspoons of oil.
Just that much bhujia?
50% in grammage is oil. 10
That's
teaspoon of oil. And with 10 teaspoon of oil, how do you maintain your cholesterol levels? How do you stop depositing fat? I said you have to remove it. So I had to go so much in depth.
to explain, rationalize that
Right.
bhujia is not good for you.
So he said, ऐसे कैसे चलेगा? मैं मारवाड़ी हूँ, मैं तो भुजिया खाऊंगा. I said, one of the reason I became a nutritionist was to handle my whole community. When I was 15 years old, I would not allow my brother sister to have bhujia. Can you imagine? That is
Because
the
you
time.
knew.
Actually, my dream was to live for 100.
Okay.
If you want to live for 100, I don't want to be a sickly person living till 100, right? So I thought I have to be an active 100-year-old woman. So I have to start at a young age practice.
Why do you want to live to 100?
There is so much to do in life,
Okay.
and you can give so much
Okay.
in life. So one lifespan is very less. according to me, with the amount of things you want to do.
But you're doing that for so many other people who could, with nutrition, be able to live a long life. And that is what is like more impactful.
Yes.
Tell me about like one of the cases that has been a standout for you.
Like I have this client who came to me and he said he was 105 plus kilos and he was on 70 units of insulin. And he said, Sumanji, and I have never lost weight, and but I now it's time that I want to become healthy. I started him on the diet, and I told him that you need to reduce your intake of insulin because as soon as you start my diet, your sugar will start falling. He was eating all his 4 square meals and he was exercising. He lost more than 25 kgs. Yeah, in the span of 1 year. He stopped in fact, his insulin really became zero. And he said, I have never seen myself so fit.
Do you think sometimes people just need that push also? Like, right, that you're eating so much unhealthy and this is what you need to cut off, but you're not able to do
To
it?
hear you can't have this is very important. You don't want to listen to your wife. You don't want to listen to your children. You need someone authoritative to say, listen, you can't have this. It works even for kids. Like mothers bring their children to us. Listen, you tell him because I have no influence on my child in terms of food or this to have or that not to have.
Now, when we're bringing children up in this environment in today's day and age, you can't stop them from having
It's so
something.
tough. Ask me.
I know, I'm
I have a
sure.
grandchild.
I'm sure. The other day I was talking to a mother and the child must be like 6, 7, and she was having cold drink. And I was like, how can you give such a young, like, I'm not for it. Like, don't give the child at such a young age. She's like, Alina, I will not give. The child will have anyways in school. And with that environment, all the friends are having. How much and where do you stop the child?
First anti-nutrient for every child is the aerated drinks. The second anti-nutrient would be instant noodles. Because the noodles are first cooked and then they are deep fried at a very high temperature, very, very high temperature for them to have pores so that they become instant.
I think anything instant, right? Like cook it in 5 minutes, and what nutrition will that have?
Yeah. Then chocolates which are made with high fructose corn syrup.
What chocolate can be good except, okay, dark chocolate is good.
So it's not the dark chocolate, it's the chocolate which has HFC, high fructose corn syrup is bad.
How will we know?
Yeah, so it's mentioned on the good chocolate brand. So the expensive one, the one which is commercially available, all have it. Like
Okay.
Hershey's claim that they don't have it.
Okay.
If you Google, and of course the expensive brands like Laderac and all, they don't have it.
They don't have. And Lindt?
Lindt don't have it.
They don't have it.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not saying don't give your kid chocolate. Of course, they should be limited. Then they should have dates because they will be eating in the school. Now, here what comes is the importance of Indian mithai.
Okay.
Most of the Indian mithais are very healthy. Can you imagine?
No.
If you take a piece of chocolate, what does it have? Sugar, cocoa, and flour and milk solids, right? Now, what does an Indian mithai say? You take sandesh. What does a sandesh have? Lesser sugar, no refined flour, and protein because it's made with paneer.
Oh, yeah.
Take almond laddu ya almond ki chikki. What does it have? No added fat, only the fat from almond and the good qualities of the nut. All is there and sugar. Now, what is healthy? That or a cupcake? Cupcakes is again refined sugar and refined flour.
Kaju katli, rasgulla, gulab jamun.
Gulab jamun is little unhealthy. So I would say the healthier desserts would be, say, almond, pista, kaju chikkis or laddus, then walnut chikkis and laddus, then our Indian almond halwa, mung dal halwa. They're all protein based, yeah, and very good quality fat ghee, not margarine. Of course, we make a lot of them, but we make it with jaggery. Then we have chikkis. Those, chikkis are so good.
Because it's
Peanut
nuts
chikki.
and all.
And then you have those sesame chikkis.
Yes.
They're so healthy. I feel all the mothers in India, they should sort of give their children option of choosing desserts and introduce them to the Indian desserts rather than Western desserts. That is my first thing. I mean, I tell my granddaughter and every child who comes to me is chocolates or any artificial color which they use in making the chocolates or cakes, etc. That can be really harmful, which is the blue color and the red color, and all these colors are really bad artificial. So that is a very absolute no for a child. A mother should know it's okay to give sugar, it's okay to give jaggery, but these food they should totally cut it out from their
Avoid.
diet and
Okay.
completely.
Since you're talking about like cooking and all, it's a huge debate on what is the right cooking oil or what should you cook your food in. As a dietitian, tell us that what should we use to cook our food?
In science, what we are taught and what I practice is that there are three kind of fats, which is SFA, PUFA, and MUFA. So monounsaturated fatty acids, polyunsaturated fatty acid, and saturated fatty acids. Ghee is saturated fatty acids. Coconut oil is saturated fatty acids. Margarine is that, and butter is that, and chicken also has saturated fatty acids. Okay. So our body needs 1:1:1 of all the three fats. Okay. So if you only cook in ghee, where is your PUFA? Now, PUFA and MUFA both have a work to play in our body. But out of the three, what is most important, which our body needs, is PUFA, which is poly, which only comes from vegetable oils. There is hardly any present in animal source. Of course, you get PUFA in fish. So fishitarians can do very well with olive oil and butter, okay, and cheese, etc. But because they are eating fish, they'll get PUFA. But what about vegetarians? Where will they get? Because most of the nuts are very rich in MUFA. So that is why Indian cooking requires tampering, which is hum bolte hain vaghaar lagana. That is why it's required. It is to be done in oil. I am saying only ghee is very good, but limited quantity.
Yes.
No? Don't cook everything in ghee. Ghee is in fact extremely important for pregnant women because the only source for vegetarian for cholesterol is ghee and milk products and dahi and paneer and cheese. It doesn't come on any oil. No, there is zero cholesterol in oil and zero cholesterol in nuts and zero cholesterol in coconut oil. And baby's brain, when the mother is pregnant, develops only on cholesterol. I mean, one of the major factors is cholesterol. Even the first year after the mother delivers, the first year of the child, the brain becomes double than its size when they are born because it feeds on cholesterol. That is why Parsis give egg yolk, which is so rich in cholesterol. Yeah. And so much of ghee is fed to, when the japa happens, the 40 days, so much of ghee is fed.
Yes. Because it helps in bones and development, right?
Brain development. So that is the myth people need to understand, that ghee is good, but you need to keep a balance. So what I would tell my clients, if your HDL is low, cook your eggs in olive oil, or make your salads in olive oil, or saute your vegetables in olive oil. You can't do Indian cooking in olive oil. Then for every other cooking, use oil, and in your chapati, put little ghee.
That's what I do. In the morning, if I'm having egg, then I make it in either avocado oil, but that's very expensive. So then olive oil or avocado oil, because you can't heat it at very high temperature, so you can't cook food in your
I think that's
oil.
A very smart choice.
So just egg in the morning, or like you said, salad or anything small, if poha, whatever. Then in the morning you take that oil, and then there's oil you're doing for cooking, and then ghee is in literal other things.
Yeah, and butter. You butter your toast is fine.
Okay. Yeah. And which kind of oil to have? Like, that's a big question.
So the three very researched oils which are good for you are peanut oil, very rich in PUFA and MUFA. Then we have avocado oil, which is very healthy. Then rice bran oil. Now we have a lot of cold pressed oil which are available. So many companies are doing very good quality oil, so people can choose those. They have less, they are less refined.
The other thing I do, and somebody had told me this, somebody who is studying nutrition only, is that keep alternating your oil. So what I do is every 3 or 4 months, I change the oil that we are eating in.
That's a smart thing to do.
So that you're getting every
different kind of a combination of oil, PUFA, MUFA. There is a little bit of SFA also in very little in all the vegetable oil. Now
health and nutrition have just become a very complicated topic. Like, everybody's so confused. Or should we eat this? Should we not eat this? This is good for you. This is bad for you. And I think we've overcomplicated it. If you had to tell somebody who's not coming to you as a patient and a client, that what is like an ideal diet that they should have? What should they have in their food and what should they not have?
So it depends on their goal. Like we had a lady coming in who needs to gain weight because the
Okay.
muscle mass is so low and her gut is totally ruined.
Okay.
So the consult is different. But of course, we have a rule of 4 meals a day, which is breakfast, lunch, snack, dinner. We believe in IF, but 12 hours fasting.
I do IFs when I want to lose weight.
I believe in 12-hour fasting. It does not compromise your health.
Beyond that,
Beyond that, you are taking a risk.
okay.
16 hours is a huge risk, which poses on your immunity, gastric health, your gut health. Third is your muscle loss. So, a lot of people who are doing IF since a very long time have lost a lot of muscle. The metabolism literally dropped to such a low that when they start doing the normal diet, they gain weight and more.
Okay, because you're doing again extreme, which is what I was coming to, is that
Extreme
these
diets.
extreme things can't be beneficial for you in the long run.
Yeah. So self-care has from the day one has believed in we call it 4X diet, where we tell our clients you have your 4 square meals till you are 60, which is breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner. Have it 4 hours apart max. Otherwise, the ghrelin level in the body or the leptin goes high, which does not then satisfy you from. Suppose you have your lunch instead of say 1 o'clock, you had your breakfast at 9 and you had your lunch at 1, but you didn't have lunch at 1, you had it at 2. That you missed that 4-hour mark. Your ghrelin level kicks in. Then your whatever the portion of lunch will not satisfy you. You will have to keep eating something more to satisfy your craving. So that is what is very important, which is 4-hour mark. So I tell my clients have it at 3.5 hours.
And sometimes that doesn't happen. Like I have, for example, a very hectic schedule, and my lunch, dinner will like move around a lot. How much of fluctuation is okay?
Why would you do that? Why would you shift your time? That is first. But of course, these kind of situations happen to me too. Then, of course, I have something in my bag.
Okay.
Okay, like some nuts I'll have, or I'll have an extra cup of tea, coffee. At least that gives me sugar and a little milk and some protein and some delay in my meal. So my body is not starving. Okay? So stop the body from starving or missing that mark is very important. Have a fruit instead, which will at least be there, take you for another half an hour. So don't miss that mark, which is 4 hours. That is the second rule. Third is that 3 of your major meals, breakfast, lunch and dinner, has to be combined with 4 important ingredients, which is macros, which is carbs, protein, fats and fiber. In absence of any one, your meal is not complete and then you will have cravings later on. We do make a no-carb diet for someone who is very resistant to weight loss, which is no-carb diet for 1 meal in a day. Not like all meals, no carbs and do keto.
But it's so difficult to have like every single one of them in every single meal.
Why? Like you have egg and toast, right? Egg with vegetables, you'll make an omelette, always made with vegetables, or you'll stir fry some sauteed mushrooms or some vegetables on the side, and your toast, which is your carb, and butter is the another thing, and oil which is using, and the yolk. Lunch, if you have, you do tampering, right? To the vegetables and the dal. Suppose you're a vegetarian, dal has tempered oil, vegetables have tempered oil, then the carbs are your rotis. Then suppose you, of course, dals are very high in carbs for your information. So suppose you have yogurt or paneer or chicken. They have fat and the fiber comes from the vegetables. In fact, all our meals are already balanced.
Exactly.
Our ancestors have made fantastic menus for us. We are just ignoring them. So the lunch is the most important part of the meal. So as I mentioned, there are 4 pillars to the health, which is your 4 meals, 4 hours apart, 4 combination of food. And the last one is that you avoid all the extra paraphernalia, which is desserts, ice cream, cold drink, chocolates, fried, etc. Yeah, that's the 4th pillar, which is very important. So the balanced meals are very important. If you suppose you only have rice, there'll be an immediate spike in your bloodstream of glucose. Now that spike will ask your pancreas to produce insulin. Now that insulin will be produced in excess quantity because there is so much of surge of glucose in your blood. Now that will cause a crash. So that's called sugar spike and low. Now the crash will again tell you to eat a lot. That's why you're not supposed to just have rice. Now when you have only say protein, so only protein, again that has no fiber, so you'll be constipated, you'll have body odor, and of course again there'll be no crash, there'll be a slow release, but your your brain functioning, brain fog, etc. will happen because you've not had carbs. We give no carb dinners to our clients who can sustain and can sleep well. So the problem is if you're not having a proper balanced meal, so then also your sleep is disturbed. Now, the foundation of health is good sleep. I've been wearing this all these biohack devices. So this is one of my most favorite one, which is Aura
Aura
Ring.
Ring.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you that are these health tracking devices worth it or not?
yeah, totally worth it. I'm wearing it since 7 or 8 years. This tracks my sleep quality, or amount of oxygen I'm getting, and how many steps I've taken through the day. How is my stress level? How in the through the day? Then it also tracks what is my heart rate at night. So what happened with Aura Ring with me is why I like it. Is it told me that when you have alcohol, your HRV is impacted and your heart rate is impacted. So it made me have less alcohol.
Because you were conscious about it.
Secondly, it showed me that whether you have black tea or black coffee or your regular tea or green tea, your heart rate is again messed up in the night because of tea, because of presence of caffeine.
Okay.
Then also it showed me that what should be the ideal gap between your sleep time and your dinner time. That also impacts your heart rate, which is another beautiful thing it told me. Then it also taught me what should be the room temperature at night. Because if the temperature is high, that my body temperature is high, then your heart rate goes up. Now that is not very good for you as you're aging because your heart is working harder. So that is why elderly people should sleep with lower AC temperatures. So their heart rate goes lower. So it has really taught me a lot of things.
At what temperature should one sleep at?
Depends on the blanket you're using. I sleep between 23 and 24.
Is that the ideal temperature?
No, everybody has a different temperature.
Some people sleep with 16 and full fan.
So what happens is the amount of heat or the cold you can take depends on the amount of muscle you have.
Oh.
Yes. So if you have very less muscle covering, that means your
Going to
insulation
feel
is not very
cold.
good. You feel very cold.
You know, in all offices and in ours also, it's a huge problem that the temperature that we all sit at can never be like a fixed
Same,
thing.
yeah,
It
because
can't be
everyone's
same.
muscle mass is
And I've
different, and the
worked-
fat mass is different.
Exactly. So we worked at so many offices, and the same problem is happening right now is that the girls will like freeze and the guys just want the AC to be at a certain
Because
temperature.
they all have more muscle.
That's why it's happening.
Yes.
Oh, now we know the answer. We
Yes.
need to get some more muscle.
So the most suitable, which will suit everyone, is between 24 to 25 in daytime because you're not using a blanket. So 25 is most ideal.
The other thing I want to ask you, what is some food product that everybody thinks is very healthy but is actually not?
So I think the veg juices people think are very healthy, and I don't prescribe any veg juices to any of my clients. Many nutritionists think that giving a different concoction of juices, celery juice and cucumber juice and
Yes,
coriander
spinach,
juice
this
and
and-
dudhi juice is going to solve all your health issues. Yeah, that's not the answer. If you have a gut issue, these juices are not going to help you. You need to check your gut. So I don't believe in veg juices. Even fruit juices, not as much. So it's not that we don't prescribe fruit juices. We do it for weight gain.
Yes, I've heard that fruit juices, you should not have it as very high content of sugar.
Fructose.
Fructose.
Yeah, sugar.
And we always think, oh, fruit juices are very healthy for you.
Yeah. So it depends whom you're giving it to. Like if I'm sick and my stomach is really off, and so I will be having a juice because I'm not digesting anything. I need that immediate kick of the sugar.
Hmm.
If someone is an athlete,
Hmm.
they will get juices because they need instant energy.
Hmm.
A child who's doing a lot of sport, great, have juices. Yeah.
Okay.
So depends on the section of people who we give the fruit juices. Vegetable juices, what my belief is in this field, that you should only give vegetable juices of the food which you can eat raw. Like carrot juice is fantastic if someone is having say a pregnant woman, very low weight, and I need to up her iron levels and her energy levels. I will give her a miracle juice which consists of little boiled beetroot and carrot, tomatoes, pomegranate, apple, and little amla. It's called miracle juice. So we give that.
Okay.
But I would not give a juice of say dudhi juice to anyone.
Why?
1 in 100 dudhi can have cucurbitacin, which is the poisonous dudhi or
Okay.
gourd. Now that can really cause a havoc in your body, and you're not going to taste your dudhi before taking out the
Hmm.
juice, right? So
Hmm.
that's the issue about dudhi.
Hmm.
Once it is cooked, then it goes away because you'll taste the bitterness and you're going to throw it, right?
Tell me, if I am hungry late at night and I don't want to eat Maggie and Lay's or anything unhealthy, what is something quickly that I can make for myself and eat that is like okay because it's not as bad?
I have nuts and I would go and quickly get an apple, or I'll make myself maybe a sandwich, which is
That's
quick.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you cannot always say no, no, no to every food. Like bread has become a very big taboo in front of in like so many people's life. But I don't believe it's so bad because first of all, it's easily available and it can be easily cooked and at least it gives you energy.
Hmm.
I'm not saying it is one of the best food.
Hmm.
If someone asks me what is better, bread or chapati, I'll say 100 times chapati
Yeah.
than bread because of the milk solutes the bread has, the sugar it has, the gluten it has, and the stabilizer it has, and the chemicals it has.
You know, since we're talking about bread, I saw a video of where they showed how brown bread was made, and I was like, "Why are you all at home eating brown bread? Because उसमें तो सिर्फ color डाल रहे हैं." Then when you go to a store and I looked at the breads in real life, I was like, "Oh, this is saying organic brown bread. That is different from the colored brown bread."
Yes.
Like we just don't know as users how much are we going to see each and everything. So we
Yeah.
just pick up brown bread thinking that
Yeah.
it's healthier than white bread.
So you should look for whole wheat bread then.
I'm telling you, food labels is something that now India has started like reading, knowing, looking at the back of the pack. Otherwise, we wouldn't know for so many years.
So the debate about the white bread, like I once what happened by mistake, one nutritionist typed white bread to a client, and that client really lost it. How can you give me white bread?
Why not?
So I said, white bread on its own will spike your sugar. It's refined, right? But if you have it with eggs, it's fine. It's not going to spike your sugars.
See,
If
we
you
have-
have it with paneer, it's okay. If you have it with cheese, it's okay if you don't have blood pressure. Yeah?
Yes, I eat cheese toast a lot.
Yeah. Today my evening snacks is cheese toast.
My God, there are so many myths around
Yeah,
food that
yeah.
we don't know.
Now, if you take a debate of whole wheat bread and the white bread,
Yeah.
I'll tell you another thing. So the whole wheat bread, because it's naturally not sweet as compared to a maida bread, they add more sugar.
No
fillings.
way.
Yeah. And they add more gluten,
Oh my God.
gluten powder. And then they add more stabilizers to increase the shelf life. Can you imagine? Yeah, I'm not saying the white bread is the best. Of
Of
course, the
course.
amount of fiber in whole wheat bread is more, but how much more?
Hmm.
Compared to as like one slice of apple.
Hmm.
That's all it is more in.
Hmm.
Of course, white bread has its own issues. It has yeast and everything, and people who are looking for no yeast in this thing that don't have bread.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't have white bread, but sparingly.
Hmm.
I get a lot of gluten-free bread,
Hmm.
which is of course again jawar bread, etc., etc.
Hmm.
I also eat a lot of chapati or
Hmm.
jawar roti or ragi roti instead of bread when
Hmm.
I'm having my eggs or paneer for breakfast as protein.
Hmm.
So I have a lot of variation. I don't stick to one thing.
That's the good thing. But you know, you're talking about like balanced diets and balanced meals. But tell me, can Indians with these balanced diets get enough protein intake that they need?
Till you are 40, 45, you can. With a lot of, you have to, whenever I go anywhere, first thing I look into the menus, where can I get my protein? So it's like, you must have heard that experiment by a professor where he took a jar, he first put sand and then he put the gravel, then he put the stones. He could not, because he could not fill the jar with this, the stones were left out. But then he put the stones first, then he put the gravel,
Yes,
and then
yes,
he put
yes.
the sand, everything fit. And the water also fit. So this is my thing. When you're making your menu, first put your proteins
Okay.
of your day. So anyone who's doing weight training,
Okay.
anyone who's had a sickness, anyone who's above the age of 55 and doing weight training, and anyone who, that age you can't get so much protein from your diet. Then anyone who's had a burn or an injury, or anyone who's geriatric, that means a certain age, they need to start taking some form of artificial protein.
I'm talking about regular 30-year-olds.
Okay. Say, I have to make your diet.
Okay.
Say your ideal body weight is what my eyes can see.
Tell me.
Between 55 to 60. Your
Yes.
is ideal body weight.
55 is
Yeah.
less. And
So I would like to give you maybe between 55 to 60 gram of protein.
okay.
Okay. So how would we split it in the day? So I would make your breakfast as around 15 to 18 grams. Sorry, 15 grams. Lunch between 16 to 18 grams. Dinner between as same as breakfast protein, and evening snack some protein. That's how I would like to make. So suppose I give you 1.5 eggs, which is 9 grams of protein. The vegetables maybe 1 or 2 grams, and then the bread or whatever you have, which is between 2 to 4 grams. You're done. Then lunch. Suppose you are having non-veg. Okay, so maybe between say 80 grams of meat, and along with some carbs and some vegetables, you're done. 80 grams of meat would be 12, carbs would be another 3 to 4, and then the vegetables will be another 3 to 4. 18 grams.
And if we're actively working out every single day and there's like muscle loss, muscle gain, at that time, do you need more protein?
No, the girls need a different amount of protein as compared to guys because they have more muscle mass. So we have a weighing scale where we understand how many kgs of skeletal muscle mass they have. Then we give them the
Right.
protein.
Right.
You need to be mindful. Like you can't just have evening snacks, nothing, just a fruit. You need to put in, because in today's time, we are not expending that much energy, but our body needs maintenance. Maintenance kahin nahi gaya. You have to maintain your hair, 92% protein, your skin, every 3 months it changes, your blood changes 3 months, the globin is the protein part, your nails have calcium, but of course, every growth in your body is dependent on protein. Your hormones are made from protein, your enzymes are made from protein, antibodies are made from protein, muscle are maintained by protein. So every structure in your body, which is everything, requires protein and fats to maintain. Only thing carbs are required is for energy. So you have to reduce carbs and increase protein. Maintain the fat and the protein in your diet because that's what you require. And if you're working out, you don't need to take extra protein because 55-60 gram is enough. You don't want to really puff up, right?
Yeah.
Every woman's goal is not a WWF woman's body, and you can easily do it
with your diet.
And boys who are like, they want to have a really V-shaped body where they want to have a very broad chest, then they can't do. They need to have the creatine, they need to have the
Okay.
vegan protein or the whey protein, but of course they need to find a very good source because there's so much of contamination
In
and
the
protein, this thing. So I would prefer that they choose a protein which is, say, whey protein, which is from the grass-fed cows.
okay.
And the vegan protein is also from a very good source. So they need to check out their source, not go for this is cheap, so I will buy it.
Tell me for vegetarians now, because they will come at me in the comment section. What can vegetarians do to increase their protein intake?
Yeah, there we find a little bit tough because there are only two sources of protein for them. One is milk, dahi, paneer, cheese, and second is pulses. Of course, there is a little bit in the nuts, but more fat than protein. Now, the pulses are more richer in carbs than the protein. So, if you take a cup of dal, say it's 150 ml made from 25 grams of pulses, that will have 11 to 12 grams of carbs and only 6 grams of protein.
Okay.
Yeah, that means double carbs. Yeah, and you have it with rice, more carbs. And then you have it with vegetable, more carbs.
Okay. So what to do?
So that's why they struggle. And you can make out a vegetarian that they are not getting enough protein just by looking at their skin and their hair.
I had a friend who was pregnant, and they are obviously vegetarian, so not allowed chicken or any non-vegetarian product. But the doctor said that the protein needs to be higher. You're not getting, and there was an exclusion made in her family while she was pregnant for her to be able to eat eggs.
Thank God, because eggs are not just protein for pregnant women. So eggs are very rich in cholesterol, as I mentioned, which is important for baby's brain development, fetuses, and also rich in choline, which is very important for brain development. These two are very, very major factor for a pregnant woman to have. But suppose if you are vegetarian, what can they have? They can have a glass of milk. It has enough choline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Milk,
and it has cholesterol, ghee. Yeah, they can have paneer in the breakfast. They can have maybe mid-morning, they can have another glass of buttermilk. Their lunch can be thick dal, which will give them good digestive fiber, which is soluble, and plus it will give them iron.
Hmm.
along with carbs and vegetables. Then evening snacks can also have some kind of a milk protein. They have to separate the milk, and pregnant women, they have to separate the milk protein with pulses, because otherwise they get clash of iron absorption or the calcium absorption,
Hmm.
because they don't go together. So evening snacks can also have some kind of a protein, like paneer toasty or paneer wrap, or curd with granola, whatever, like,
But
some.
soy is such a great protein,
Yes.
right? That they
And
can
the
have.
dinner can have soy. So instead of dal, they can have either tofu, or they can have
Tofu.
paneer, or they can have, because the calcium is important, which is not so high in soy products. Vegetarian can meet their protein requirements, and but of course they need to consult a nutritionist.
I've researched and found out that compared to other countries, Indians always have a lot of bloating and fat around their tummies, which is not existent as much in other countries. What is making that happen?
Yeah, because India is a primarily vegetarian country. So a lot of people have, it's something called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is because of excessive consumption of carbs.
And they wouldn't even know, right? We wouldn't
No.
even know that
We do that test for them.
What is the first sign that somebody can know that, oh, I need to get a test for this?
So they have a lot of fat deposit on the belly. Then they have dark skin here.
Hmm.
Yeah. So darkening of the skin
That's
around the neck.
insulin
Insulin
resistant.
resistance. Then they have, men generally have darkening of the skin around this area. Then they have also the skin folds have
Darkening, yeah.
darkening. Actually, the first sign of diabetes or insulin resistance is never high sugar or never high HbA1c.
Oh,
The first sign of diabetes is high triglycerides,
which is
one of the cholesterol markers.
okay.
So in the blood. So the high triglycerides with high LDL and low HDL is one sign. So they go to a cardiologist,
Hmm.
but they should be actually going to check their diet, check their diet with a nutritionist, reverse that condition through diet,
Hmm.
and lose weight. That gets all right.
Oh,
And maybe start on early medication for prevention of diabetes.
okay.
So, as I mentioned, this and the skin tags is another sign of insulin resistance. And then typical balding from here.
Hmm.
So, if you start losing hair around here, that's another sign of pre-diabetic condition or insulin resistance,
Hmm.
or just hair loss for
Hmm.
that matter. Then a lot of craving for desserts, which you only mentioned, right?
That is a sign.
That is a sign. That, and you are like, you're doing everything to lose weight, but you're not able to lose weight. That's another sign.
Oh, yeah.
You are like literally exercising 2 hours a day. You are cut down your food. You are eating clean, but you're not losing weight. Why? Hormones.
Yes.
You need to be under guidance, under doctor, and under team, proper team.
But that's when you know you have to get help.
Yes.
Okay.
As soon as you have pot belly,
Yes.
and even like, not even when you're overweight, there is a concept of skinny fat. Skinny fat is something where a person is thin,
Yeah.
but we have many cases like that. So we had this gentleman coming, Mr. Havaldar. He had his HbA1c was 12,
Okay. What is
which
it,
is
sir?
very high,
Okay.
very, very high. And he was thin. Only fat he had was on the belly. And it's not that he was not exercising. He was literally walking for 2.5 to 3 hours a day. He was eating his own muscle. So his muscle mass was going down and his sugars were going up. So as soon as we changed the pattern of his
Oh.
exercise, his pot belly went away. Within 3 months, his HbA1c from 12 came down to 6.8.
What exercise did you give him?
They have to do weight training.
Weight training. So that the weight
So
is.
we decreased and we gave him something before the exercise. So there's a I can say that, and people will start doing after listening
No,
to
no,
this thing. But of
it's-
course, there's a whole lot of other things which goes.
It's case by case, right? Nobody can actually take one of the things you've said and applied it to them and then it works. Like I've noticed that when you look at a reel, you're looking at like 15 seconds, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You can't apply it and assume that now you need to do it. On that topic, I want to talk about creatine. I don't think anybody should just look at the reels and look at the content around and just start having it. You need to know why you need to have it. Do you need to have it? How much of it you need to have properly checked first, right?
It is really, really healthy for some, but maybe unhealthy for some.
Okay.
So people with kidney disease, we keep checking on how much creatine to give them. People who want to say, I started creatine.
Okay.
So because my muscle mass, I needed my muscle mass to be a certain number, and it wasn't that number. So it helped me for a certain time, but it's not something which I want to take daily
Hmm.
because it makes you gain weight very fast.
Okay.
So you need to be very, very focused and not get wavered if your weight starts going up, because it will go up for some time. Yeah. But then it is the best way to gain muscle. So
Hmm.
we would give it to anyone who's coming for muscle gain
Hmm.
and want to gain weight.
Hmm.
Everyone else, we will be little cautious.
Hmm.
With kidney disease, we'll be very, very cautious.
Okay.
We can't give it to pregnant women, lactating women,
Yeah.
of course. So there are a lot of restrictions.
Hmm.
So we don't give.
Okay. We've spoken so much about weight loss, but I know a lot of people suffering from being underweight, and nobody gives them as much importance because we look at them like, oh, how lucky. But actually, it's not. You don't have the nutrition. And I've also noticed that people who are really, really thin keep falling sick so often because their immunity is bad. Do you know there are misconceptions where families of these people will be like, "Arey, khate jao, tum to sab kuch kha lo," and eat everything freely because you want to put on weight. But is that the right way?
So anyone who's very thin, they have very less muscle mass and very less fat. Okay. And trust me, it's not easy to make anyone gain weight.
Yes, I know.
So we really struggle. Yeah. I was not successful in making anyone gain weight till 2007 or 8.
Why?
Because there is a formula. So which you need to work upon. We need to understand their exercise, timing of exercise. We tell them to exercise not empty stomach because they'll lose more fat and muscle. So we tell them to exercise. Today only I handled a client who was 44 kilos and she is supposed to be 55 kilos.
44 is less.
Very
no?
less. And she was 60 years old.
Oh,
First, her gut was totally ruined. So we first, 1 month we took to make her gut better, make her digest milk protein because she had given up milk protein being a vegetarian.
oh.
So we reintroduced curd, we reintroduced paneer into her diet, which she could digest well, and her gut started working well. Then now we started her on weight training, and she was doing it empty stomach. So we told her, please do it after a meal so that you don't eat your own muscle. Because morning you have the lowest amount of glucose in your blood, right? You immediately start attacking your muscle or your fat store, depending on type of exercise and what is your heart rate. So weight gain is not an easy thing to achieve, and if we can make someone lose, say, max to max maybe around 8 or 10 kgs a month, which is someone came to us with 130 kgs, he lost 8 to 10 kgs in a month. Yeah, but we will not be able to make anyone gain that much weight. It is only 1.5 to 2 kilos a month.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's very difficult because what's the use of loading them with desserts and donuts, because they are going to only gain fat. Their immunity is not going to change. So we have to take care of their gut, their hair, their skin, their immunity. And this lady had high sugar.
Oh.
Can you imagine? We couldn't even give her a juice. So she was taking banana. I said, "Aap banana kyun kha rahe hain? Please don't have banana."
Why?
Because high in sugar. So I give her other fruits which has soluble fiber, like apple and pear have soluble fiber, which are better for diabetics. So we had to really struggle to make a diet for her.
Oh my God. I can imagine it must
And
be
cholesterol
difficult.
high at the same time.
Because of age also, na? Like that's
Mm.
also a factor.
That is because genetic. Cholesterol is high because of
Oh,
genetics.
like in younger people, it's easier to make them put on weight?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You're right, actually. And there's another lady for weight gain from this city, Indore.
Okay.
Yeah. So now she is also diabetic. Why? Because she was having fruits empty stomach.
What do you ideally start with?
You can start with warm water with lime and honey. You can start with nuts, soaked nuts,
Okay.
and just or straight away have breakfast. If you're exercising before your breakfast workout, then have some soaked nuts and maybe dates or maybe figs or some soaked draksh or kali draksh or yellow raisins.
Do you see a lot of people give up their diets because it's too difficult to maintain and manage?
Our clients don't give up because we literally give everything. I'm giving them rice, I'm giving dhokla, they ask for thepla, we ask for paratha, they ask for aloo, everything they ask, I give.
There are lots of people that come from other cities to earn over here, especially men, and they live by themselves or they live together, right? And there are lots of women also nowadays actually that come so much from, and they're living by themselves. Like, how are they supposed to manage that? Oh, I need to have this in the morning, then at lunch I need to have this, and
But
at
your
dinner.
body tells you, na, that
Hmm.
you're hungry now, it's lunchtime, eat your meal.
So they eat whatever is easily accessible around
Yeah,
them.
so they can now, the ordering is such a good thing. Order in, na. You can order in anything.
Is that
and
the
it's a-
same thing as homemade meals?
It's not. But you're asking me
Yeah.
what, I mean, instead of getting samosa or kachori from down or burger from down, they would rather order maybe a paneer wrap or a chicken wrap, right? Better choice than that. Like ordering a bhel. Bhel has what? Just carbs, right? So you'd maybe order something better than bhel, maybe hummus and pita. So you need to start making right choices and be mindful. What I like about the Gen Z or the young generation, that they know a lot.
Yes, they have lots of information.
Yes, they should just be able to use that information correctly, which is the key. We equip them with that. We tell them that you have these many apps. Swiggy, no problem, order this from Swiggy. Tingle, no problem, order this from Tingle. So we equip them with what to order. You just have to eat on time and the right combination.
Okay.
Don't miss that 4-hour mark. That is what. So that brings your immunity down, that brings your muscle down, that brings your control down. Human body is made to become fat. And the fat is something, is like garbage. If you see garbage somewhere, you will throw more garbage there. So if you have fat on your body, you want to collect more fat. That's the biggest problem. So your aim as a human being for your own body is to keep your fat percentage lower. In the sense, make sure you eat on time. Otherwise, if there is a long gap between your meals, then your body thinks on its own that there is a famine coming.
So I need to store it.
Fat storage starts. Then your body doesn't want to let go of that fat, which would actually could be burning through exercise. So you should not let your body reach that stage. That is why eat on time, so that body can work efficiently. You just have to make this body, which is a machine, which is a fantastic, most wonderful machine in this world, work efficiently. And you are the one who decides what you want to eat. Nobody else, right? Then how can you not decide the right food? Only humans have the brain, right?
Yes.
Then why can't we decide what we want to eat at what time? Because you need to eat the right food at right time.
For argument's sake, a lot of people that live in like big families, and there is a certain time that they cook and a certain way, certain oil that is being used in their house. How do you break from that and separately then cook your food?
None of our clients are supposed to cook separately. I don't tell them you have to use only this oil. Most of the household use oil, no? Whatever
Yes.
I've told you till now, do you think it's not what Indians have been following since ages? We all were eating breakfast at night, eating lunch at 1, eating snacks at 5, dinner at 9. All of us, right? People who are living east, like say Calcutta or that side, because the sunrise is faster, they might be eating breakfast at 8, lunch at 12, evening snacks at 4, dinner at 8. Right? Like people in London, their timings are 8 for 12, 8, 12 for 8, right? So we know, I'm not saying anything out of the box. I'm saying only have the tel wala khana, not fried khana. It's not that fried is made every day at your house. It's made on occasions. Does it? Indian households don't have fried made every day, right? We buy from outside farsan. Kyun? Mat khao.
I know families in which their food only is cooked at like 10, 11, everybody's eating at night. That I find very absurd, but it happens.
Yeah, so now those families eat their breakfast also very late. If they're eating dinner at
Right,
11,
true.
so they sleep at 2. Then they wake up at 9. Then they have breakfast at 11. So their timings are different. Like we have actresses and all coming who have night shifts, with the diet totally changes. People who are working on American timeline, their diets are totally different.
And that's okay.
Yeah, like we have this restaurant owner who eats his dinner every day at 2.
Yes, I know restaurant owners that
Yes.
eat late. Yes.
So we have made his diet in this way that he has his lunch at lunchtime, then his breakfast at snack time, then his dinner at dinner time,
Okay.
and snack at 2 o'clock. There's no option. We have to make the diet as per person's requirement, the kind of lifestyle they have.
What has been the most difficult client you've ever had?
It's a very funny story.
Okay.
Okay, so we had this Mr. Shah coming to us some years ago, and he said, Suman, actually, there are two stories. So Mr. Shah said, Suman, I want to lose weight. I said, okay, Mr. Shah, let's work on your diet. He said, but the problem is I drink beer.
Okay.
I said, okay, we will cut it down or something, we'll find a way. But I drink 10 beers.
In a day?
So I said, week mein na, kam kar denge. So he's telling me, no, I drink in a day 10 beers. So I said, okay, if you cut it down to 2, I will take your case. He said, okay, done deal.
Acha.
Deal done.
Okay.
So I met him after a month or 2 months or 3 months. He lost 5 kgs. I said, well done, Mr. Shah. See, you're doing so well. Then I met him again after 4 or 5 months. By the time he had finished 10 kgs.
Okay.
Okay. I said, so good, Mr. Shah, that you have done it so well. See, cutting down your beer to 2, it's brought you here. He said, no, I cut down my beer by 2. Imagine you're having 8 beers a day. I said, that means I haven't done anything for you. What is this rubbish? You're an alcoholic. So then we strategized and how he can not reach out for beer at night. So keep it in his car, not keep it chilled. Why he lost weight? Because he used to literally exercise for 2-3 hours. He used to play badminton and go for a walk.
Okay.
So that is why he could lose weight. But he was
Okay.
eating very well.
Okay.
So he was one difficult client, and touch wood, he did well. We had this another difficult client coming, Sunil Advani. Weight loss was not the issue. He had come for his fatty liver because he had done his sonography and it was 24% fatty liver. He said it's very high and my doctor has told me to cut down all alcohol and meat. And I've gone to 2-3 nutritionists. Nobody's giving me a diet with these things. I said, I'll give you the diet with alcohol. Okay. That's why I became famous among all the men who want to have alcohol and come to me. So I think when he came, he was 62 or 63. He had collected huge, very, very good quality wines from all over the world. He said, now I'm 62, you're telling me not to have wine. How is that done? I said, okay, I'll give you wine, but alternate days. Okay. And I said, I'll give you non-veg every day, but not red meat. So we had that understanding. And of course, he had fatty liver. So we checked his insulin. He had insulin resistance, started medication. After 3 months, or 4 months, he lost 10 kgs. He went back to his doctor to do his sonography. And he called me from the clinic of the doctor. And from the hospital only, Breach Candy Hospital. Suman, my fatty liver has come down to 1%.
Because of the diet.
Diet, the balance, the exercise, finding out that he had insulin resistance, starting the medication, making sure his protein was enough, cutting down his carbohydrate, cutting down his fruit juices.
Wow.
They are wonderful cases which I very fondly remember.
How much of it must be mindset? Can you change your appearance and your weight by just changing how you think?
Yeah, I think so. So what happens when a person loses weight? Their body becomes erect. They have so much confidence in themselves. I've seen that they're beaming with happiness when they achieve what they. So it's all about achievement. When you lose weight, you are actually complimenting your own brain that you have the self-control. You have created literally steel in your brain, right? You're saying no to food. That brings on its own glow, its own strength. That strength shows on the way you stand, the way you sit, the way you walk, and everything. Any project you comes in your front of you, you'll be able to be successfully doing that because you are saying no to wrong food because you have that much strength.
Willpower.
So
many women around me have PCOD, like 1 in 3 they say, which is like a really high number. What kind of food are they supposed to eat? What kind of food are they supposed to stay away from?
So PCOS is a collection of many hormones going wrong. It can be DHEAS, it can be, FSH, LH imbalance, it can be insulin, can be prolactin, can be thyroid. So we have to first study the hormones which are off.
Okay.
Then depending on that hormone, we make the diet.
Can you reverse PCOS?
Yeah, of course.
With diet?
Yeah. So there are 2-3 kind of PCOS. One is related to the weight.
Yes.
You're overweight, that's why you have PCOS. Then one is not related to the weight, it is the genetics. You are thin, but you have PCOS. So it's very easy for us to reverse people who are fat, and then we reverse the PCOS. Their periods come on regularly, they lose their facial hair, all that eruptions on their face goes away, the acne goes away, and the dark skin goes away. and all the belly fat comes down, which is of course with lifestyle correction, making them realize how they can choose the right food, giving them more low glycemic index food. If they have thyroid, then we change the diet according to the thyroid diets, which is reducing their goitrogens, which is soy. We reduce soy, peanuts, bajra, and cruciferous vegetables, and we tell them to up their iron and B12, because that also causes thyroid to go down. Then we check their insulin levels. Then we do the same thing about insulin. Then if the prolactin is high, which is causing also a lot of issues, then we check their prolactin, and then we send them back to the doctors if they have to be on the pill for that. And then we reduce their dairy, because that also causes the prolactin to go up. So it is like someone with combination of 3 has a different diet, combination of 2 has a different diet, single one has a different diet.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, they need a lot of counseling. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I really have a sympathy for those girls, because I know they have to work doubly hard on their body, on their diet, on their exercise as compared to anyone else.
Right.
Also, we have to change their exercise pattern.
Okay.
Sometimes a particular kind of exercise doesn't work for them. So we have to do combinations and trial and this, and then we guide them towards the right exercise, right diet. But it is possible to reverse. And the ones who are really thin, then they have to be more dependent on the medication and change their lifestyle, of course, remove junk from their diet and all that.
How come our ancestors, we never heard, and PCOS, PCOD was non-existing in even our parents' generation?
It's like how obesity has become very rampant, and like it's a pandemic or epidemic of obesity, and adult obesity is also high. Compared to that, of course, PCOS is also in high numbers because of lifestyle, low activity. Now imagine earlier times, if you wanted to have something nice, you would get ready,
Yes.
wear your nice shoes, walk to the door, walk to the car, drive the car, go to the restaurant, eat. Now, yeah, the food comes.
2 clicks. Yes.
I mean, imagine the amount of steps we are taking less. So the exercise, no matter what you say, has a very important part to play in each and everyone's life. Whether it's a child, whether it's a pregnant woman, whether it's a lactating woman, whether it's an older person, whether it's a middle-aged person, any person. Exercise is the way of living healthy. If you're not exercising, everything is going to fall apart. So first is sleep, which is also messed up because of Netflix and this and that, and the screen, don't ask. Like, I'm literally prescribing magnesium glycinate to every person.
Why?
Because that's how
they can't
sleep otherwise. Yeah.
But keep the phone away.
No, who you're going to tell them, listen, switch off the TV, don't look at your phone. Who's going to listen to you?
So you'll give them magnesium?
Magnesium glycinate. On that sleep is disturbed because their melatonin is disturbed. No, because you're looking at the screen. The light from the screen disturbs your melatonin.
Yes.
They don't fall asleep.
Yes.
I'm literally prescribing to 95% of the people.
For
the sleep is so bad. So the sleep. Then the next is exercise. I'm telling you, the real gold in this world is muscle.
I do very light exercises. I just do yoga, swimming, Zumba, walking. Is that enough?
Perfect. That's why you're looking so good. So everyone has to realize your age is not measured in how you look. Your age is measured in how much muscle you have on your body.
Okay.
I'm not saying, listen, straight away go and jump into the weight training. I'm saying build it up slowly. Weave into your life. Give importance to exercise. Don't just, okay, aaj exercise nahi hua, chalta hai. No. So suppose you miss it in the morning, do it in the evening. Keep at least solid timings for exercise. Otherwise, we all are losing muscle because of automation. Everything is with the click of the hand.
Yes.
Earlier, people used to think, okay, 1 ghanta walking ho gaya, khatam. Walking is it's like literally the baseline of exercise. That too you have to do. 10,000 steps you take daily.
Really?
But
on top of that.
But what exercise you're doing? Swimming, yoga, Pilates, weight training, floor exercise, Zumba, kickboxing, any of that you pick up, do 2 to 3 days. Everyone should do it. Everyone in this, all metro cities, especially India, because you asked this question, no? Because Indians are very inactive.
Yeah.
We have so many staff around.
Yes.
Then
We don't actually
Hmm.
do anything. Somebody's opening the door, somebody's making your food, somebody's
Yeah.
driving you
Yeah.
somewhere.
Whereas people all over the world, they don't have this.
They don't have
don't have
staff.
staff. They do everything themselves. They buy their own grocery.
Hmm.
They buy, if they do lawn, mow their own lawn. They do their own cleaning.
Hmm.
That's why they're so much fitter.
We'll tell our mom that, like, why are you going anywhere? Everything is on Zepto. Just call for the vegetables on Zepto. Call. She's like, no, I will go. I will see the vegetable. I will select the vegetable. I will buy and I will do my grocery run and come.
That's
She
wonderful.
just doesn't listen.
Yeah, no, it's a very good thing. We should encourage her because it will help her to also lift the vegetables. It's a muscle training.
Lift, and she's like, I want to go walk. I want to go
Yeah,
out. I
yeah.
want to like do
And
all
you also
of these
choose the right
things.
vegetables, no?
Yeah, she's very picky about that.
Yeah.
Now we order from.
I'm so impressed by your mom.
You should meet her. You will love her because whatever nutritionists and dietitians say, it just comes from that
Yes.
older generation. What they
Yes.
told us is just that we are not listening to them.
We are not listening, we are not registering, we are just getting influenced by
Anything
social
I
media.
have, any problem I'll have, I will ask my mom now what to do. So if I have constipation, she'll tell me what to eat. If I have a headache, she will tell me
Can
what
you
to
imagine?
do.
Damn
She
smart.
They've lived so long and they have so much experience. Na ki Nimbu will do this, Haldi will do this, and
Yes.
this
Like
will do that.
recently, I had this person coming to me at home. He's my first cousin's son. And he, of course, we handle all our relatives' diets. So he said, Bua, he calls me Bua. And he said that I came to your office on Tuesday and today is Saturday. And I've lost 2 kgs. I should have been happy, right? I was damn stressed because he was not able to eat anything. He said,
Why?
food is in front of me and I'm not able to eat.
Why?
So I told him, how much coffee you're having? He said, yeah. He said 2 cups. His father was sitting, my brother, cousin. He said, no, Suman, he's having 4 cups. And he didn't mention the cup was so big.
Oh.
First of all, he was dehydrated.
Hmm.
Second is coffee is an appetite suppressant. So he was just having it in between his breakfast and lunch. So he's not able to have his lunch or the early morning coffee. So thirdly, he was just not hydrating himself and 4 cups of coffee and how will he have food? So he stopped coffee. Within 2 days, he gained the weight back. Because he ate everything then. He said all headache, all this thing, nausea, all gone. Just 2 days of hydration and no coffee. So, this coffee mania.
Craze.
Everyone,
craze.
black coffee, but you don't know what is happening to your body.
Excess of anything. If you
Yeah,
have 4 like coffees a day, and I know some people that do, like I'm like,
And he was brewing his own coffee and crushing his own beans and he's going to wow. And then what is it doing to your body?
I think we will get into the fad. Coffee,
Yeah.
like matcha, we
Yeah,
need to have.
Just
we
have
try.
green tea or black tea, that is fine. At least doesn't have so much of effect on your body on acids. They also cause acidity, but not as much.
I'm so glad my mom and dad never gave us chai coffee. Ever.
I know.
That's why we don't have it.
I envy you.
And I'm spared with the excess sugar that I could have had if I had tea coffee.
That's why you have such a beautiful clear skin.
Thank you. Hair I want to talk about because especially again around women around my age, now that they're becoming mothers, okay, at this transition phase of this age bracket that I am in, so much of hair loss. And even with men, very early signs of so much of hair loss and also
Receding of hair.
receding hairlines in such young age. At such a young age.
Many of them.
Why does that happen?
So first of all is genetics.
Okay.
Let's blame it on the genes. Secondly, excessive intake of protein powder. Thirdly, insulin resistance. Sometimes the hair falls because of less protein intake. This is the men's section.
Okay.
First is genes. Now for the women, we do a lot of treatment.
True.
Color,
straightening, curling, blow dries.
a lot of blow dry. Men don't do it.
Hmm.
So we do curling, we do perming, we do streaking. We put so much chemical. I did perming at the age of 16.
Oh.
I had to spoil my hair long ago.
But your
this-
hair is still long.
Yeah, real hair. So I stopped coloring my hair and putting anything artificial on my hair since 14 months. So I do henna
Okay.
and I do indigo.
Is it better to
So
do?
the thing is, it's a very it's a very long process, and it's a very tedious process,
Hmm.
and at the same time you may be allergic to indigo or henna. So someone has to check the allergy to these things and then only do it. And a lot of people just give up.
Hmm.
I'm the only one who's not given up since
Hmm.
14 months.
Hmm.
I've told this to every friend of mine.
Okay.
Yeah. Now they'll keep checking my, हाँ इतने लंबे बाल हैं, अच्छा भेज दो, आपने क्या लिखा था Instagram पे, please send me everything. I said, okay.
But like example, I have a lot of gray hair in just this much like patch, and I have to keep coloring it every like 10-15 days. What to do?
Yeah, I don't. I put mehndi and indigo. Orange and indigo blue become black. This is what
I'm taking the tip now from you
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
It's not related to health and
Yeah.
diet.
So one is that you
Mhm.
stop the chemical to
Yes.
stop damaging your hair.
Okay.
Now for the growth of hair, your iron level have to be good. Your protein intake has to be good. And your certain B complexes has to be good. So you have to take a B complex, check your iron level, make sure your protein is very good.
Hmm.
So for my hair, I just don't miss because I'm also a certain age, right? I'm above 55. So I have whey protein or whichever protein suits me, I have it on a daily basis. My hair doesn't fall.
You do not look like you are a
Ah, no,
55
okay.
plus. Please let me tell you, I'm following whatever diet you're doing. And I also think that, now this is just again coming from me, is that the more stressed you are about something, the more it's going to harm you. Like, for example, if you have hair fall, and the amount of obsession you have with the hair fall is going to make the hair fall more, right? Like, how can you be so stressed about it if you are
Yes.
stressed?
Stress makes everything bad.
Huh.
It puts your body on fight and flight mode. What I find in my practice, which I have to counsel so many of the women and the men, they say we don't like our body. I think that's the first wrong thing they are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my daughter was, of course, a certain weight. So when she said, "Mom," I said, "Listen, baby, no matter what you do, okay. First of all, when you look at the mirror, you have to smile at yourself.
Hmm.
You have to tell yourself, 'Hi, Priyanka, how are you doing?' And give love to yourself
Right.
and to your body. That love will
Transfer.
transfer to your own body and it'll listen to you.
Yes.
You can't beat up your body. You're fat, you're fat, you're fat.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the first thing. You have to have self-love. And I told her, no matter what weight you are, you have to dress up well.
Yes.
So you have confidence when you walked into any room or meet anyone. I said, I don't want this self-pity game that when you're not loving yourself and I'm fat. So first do that.
Hmm.
And I tell this to every client of mine.
Hmm.
Smile at yourself.
Hmm.
It is you, your soul inside your body. You have to give reaffirmation to your soul, right? That you're nice and nourish your soul with good thoughts.
Right.
Then go to your body, na?
Yes.
Then the body will listen to you.
Yes.
That is what is every person, every girl, every boy has to understand.
Hmm.
That you are unique. You are a unique human being. You have come for a purpose. Just don't bother about these small things. All this will happen. Just be happy. Give affirmations. If you have issues, talk to a therapist. I mean, this is such a common thing in your generation, which is great. There's no harm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get your mind sorted. Love yourself and dress up however you are. Yeah. I have seen a 120 kg person just beaming with happiness and doing
Yes.
everything. That is
Yes.
what is important. No?
Yes.
Just be happy.
I haven't studied anything related to it, but I find it very fascinating on how food can heal you and cure you or also destroy you. Like, I find it very
Yeah,
interesting.
such a beautiful
I find
sentence.
it very interesting that if you eat the wrong things, how it can. See, I'm not like a really clean eater. I do eat a pizza. I do eat like Lay's once in a while, but at least you're mindful that, oh, if I've eaten it now, like I need to give it
Yeah.
a gap. I can't have pizza every day.
Yeah, I have the same mindset. I don't have no for anything.
Hmm.
It's not that I don't have alcohol. It's not
Hmm.
that I don't have mithai.
Hmm.
It's not that I don't have, like, I was out in Vadodara and my meals really got delayed and they served me nachos and pizza. So I chose nachos. I said, if I'm sinning, let me sin with the food which I like.
Yeah, true. Same. If I have to eat calories, I'll eat the nicest
Yeah,
dessert.
no, yeah,
I said
yeah.
I'm not eating like.
So I had.
rubbish.
So I'm also a human being. What is comes in front of me, there was no time. I had to take a flight.
Hmm.
So to come back. So yeah, keeping it in moderation and understanding you're eating something wrong and
Hmm.
controlling yourself in
Hmm.
next 2-3 days is important.
Hmm. like there's so many things that are bad for your health, but if you had to say one food that absolutely nobody should eat.
So I think I would label bhujia as one of the bigger Marwadi imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would label that. The only reason is because it's so tasty that you just don't stop eating.
You don't stop eating.
So if it is in front of me, I will put it on my poha, right? Little bit in my dahi. So that is the first food which went out of my grocery list when I made my grocery list. And another worst food is aerated drinks. With Diet Coke,
Aerated
oh my
drink.
God.
Everybody thinks, oh, it's
Yeah.
okay to
No,
have
I
that.
just don't
I
allow
don't.
anyone Diet Coke.
But ये लोग जो बोलते हैं कि diet coke is okay to have once in a while, it has 0 calorie, this that, I don't in my heart believe it. I don't have the scientific reason. You will tell us the scientific reason.
So of course, all the aerated drinks which has sugar are high fructose corn syrup. It's the cheapest form of sugar and it's really bad for you. That's the first part about the aerated drinks. Whether you take Coke, whether you take Fanta, whether you take Gold Spot, I mean all those things. Yeah, Sprite. Now on top of that, if you have Diet Coke, okay, either has stevia or aspartame.
Okay.
It's acid, pure acid. I have seen people who come to me taking Diet Coke. They all have gut issues, all of them, and their bones are really weak. They get weaker as they grow older, and they also are there. There's a chance that they are not their ideal body weight. They are also overweight. Okay, so I tell my clients, with folded hand, I tell them, please don't take Diet Coke. Take Nimbu Pani with sugar and salt. Take fresh lime soda sweet, but don't have Diet Coke. It has so much of bad impact on the body. And aspartame, no matter how much they're trying to hide, it has a very bad impact on your memory and it's related to many diseases.
I really needed more people to hear about Diet Coke.
I think that is one thing should be out of your another food which is really bad from your grocery list.
Yeah, but see, we're talking about it because we know all of this. I also have to speak on behalf of people that find it so difficult to lose weight and so difficult to cut out things that they have been eating throughout their lives. Like somebody.
No, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Throughout my childhood, I've had Coca-Cola.
Okay.
Throughout my childhood, every day.
Every day.
Every day. I was addicted to it. Of course, it's addictive. So, and there's no one who told you because it was available in the school. Right? We didn't have it at home, but it was available in the school. None of the schools have it now. Right? Because nobody knew about this. So, my gut is in like shambles because I had it from a very young age.
What made you change, and how can other people who are addicted to something suddenly just be like,
Yeah,
"Acha, I don't need to."
I just gave up when I was 30. I became a nutritionist at the age of maybe 31, actually 30.
See, guys, you can change your life anytime. All those people who think that they are already too late and they are adjusted in their life, that's not true. And if you are young, you have your whole life to be able to make those changes.
Yes. That's the first thing I gave up at the age of 30 was 31 was the Diet Coke. I thought this is worst food. I mean, not Diet Coke, any kind of aerated drinks. Yeah, aerated drinks I give up. And bhujia to I gave up long ago. I don't know when. Papad I gave up long ago. I don't know when. But yeah, these food are not in my, because I just didn't want to get blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis. That was my biggest scare. The autoimmune disease, because it's very highly prevalent in my family. And Diet Coke and all actually enhance that.
Yeah, they aggravate it, no?
Yeah. I tell them, okay, peena hi hai, to just take 4 sips of Coke, maybe once a month.
Weight loss that is now not done through diets over time, that is done quickly through what we have today. First thing is like between Ozempic and Mounjaro, is there one that is better than the other? And who should take it and who not? Because there's so many people around me that are not obese, they are overweight, and they are taking the drug, which I don't know if it's the right thing to do.
It's like, advent of a computer or the phone or the TV or the aeroplanes. It has come. It will stay.
Okay.
You just need how to handle it. They will take. Someone has 5 kgs to lose, they will take. Someone has 50 kgs to lose, they will take. The doctors will prescribe. Okay. Now the thing is, We have many clients who are taking it. It's not that we are telling them, listen, take it.
Okay.
We are there to change your lifestyle. Whether you are on Ozempic or Mounjaro or not, that doesn't matter. I know what happens because of those drugs. So I have to manage your muscle mass, your immunity, your skin, your hair with that. Right?
But as a nutritionist, will you tell a patient that it's okay to have Monjaro?
I would say an morbidly obese person, an obese person, listen, please go to a doctor, get medication prescribed. But we would only do that after they have exhausted all the routes. Like, say, you are overweight, which will cause its own issues, the back pain and the knee pain and the high cholesterol and blood pressure and diabetes for a very overweight person. So that is more of a harm for them. The medication does reverse all this once they lose weight, which is giving them another life.
Yeah.
But how to do it is important.
Okay.
So once you're taking it, it has its own repercussion. You need to handle it. I will not tell a person who's 5 kgs to go, straightway just go and take Ozempic or Mounjaro or GLP-1, which is going to get generic to many countries. So I will say that first exhaust your option for the lifestyle, because even if you take this, if you stop, you're going to get the weight back. It has to be done for a certain level of time. Say, suppose someone is, say, 120 kgs. They have literally 40 kgs to go. If he's a man, they have to take it for 2 years. They should be ready to take it for 2 years and 1 more year to maintain that.
Okay.
Once the fat comes down, with, of course, good nutritional guidelines from our team or any other team, so that they don't lose muscle, then they'll be able to, and the fat percentages really go low because we have a machine and we check everything, then they will be able to maintain that weight loss. It's a whole process. It's a new drug. Yeah, it needs a lot of love and care.
I've heard everybody getting thin in like 4 months after having it.
Yeah, then when they stop, they'll gain it back. I have everyone coming with the weight gain now. Obese people are good candidates for this. Diabetic people are very good candidates for this. But everyone else, we tell them first try the lifestyle and then take the medication. But we don't prescribe. They will have to go to an endocrinologist or an MD to get a prescription. We manage them.
I wanted to ask you what kind and what profile people should absolutely not take Ozempic or Monjaro.
There are 4 categories of people we have diagnosed should not be taking. People who've had thyroid tumor histories in their family or they have it. Secondly, if you have a lot of gut issues. Thirdly, if you are suffering from depression and anxiety, it may become worse.
Trigger.
And fourthly, if you have kidney or liver disease.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
So
it impacts.
this can really impact wrongly on you. And there are people who have taken these medication and we have seen their whole personality changing. They have become very depressed. So we haath jod ke tell them, please stop. It's not suiting you. It's not that this is a one fit for all. There are a lot of people who don't lose any weight with it and they don't do at all well with this. So they think there is something wrong in them. Medication is not made for them. They should not blame themselves.
Wow, I didn't know that you can have it and not lose weight.
Yeah. We have so many.
How do you cure someone that has emotional eating?
Yeah, lot of counseling. We have counselors on board.
They train and they help the person by understanding why they are emotional.
Why they are doing emotional eating, what catches them to eat, deviate from their diet. Also, the lot of time deviations happen because of less sleep. Less sleep happens because just Netflix. A lot of things are, play a role. So Ozempic, Mounjaro, a lot of people prefer Ozempic. A lot of people prefer Mounjaro. It depends on this thing. But the one which is oral, which is Ribelsis, is going out because that causes a lot of gastric imbalance.
And for Ozempic and Mounjaro, what are the side effects?
First side effect is regaining the weight once you stop. So that's why you have to maintain the muscle mass. Second is sarcopenia, which is excessive muscle loss because you're not eating.
There's something called an Ozempic face.
Yeah. Because you're not eating much. You're eating only very little. So your muscle goes. Everything is muscle, right? Even the face has muscle and fat. That goes. That is why you have that gaunt.
That is why
looking
you
face.
can tell who's taken Ozempic and Mounjaro.
When we have a consultation with the client online or offline, we see how they are looking.
Okay.
So there is a client who came to me. So he was losing very well. 4 kgs he lost in 4 weeks. I said, Ki, are you taking enough fat in your diet? He said, yeah, I'm to making everything fat-free. Diet mein kaun fat leta hai? I said, Arey Baba, I said, please add kariye. So
You
his
could
face became,
look.
yeah, I could make out from his diet that he's not taken enough fat. What is the use of losing weight
If
but
you're
when
not
you are not
looking,
looking good and
feeling.
hair is not good? Tell me. Everyone just looks at your face, right?
Yes.
Not really your body as much unless you are into like show business.
What is the demands that celebrities come to you with?
So not really. All the celebrities are damn nice people.
Yeah?
They are very humble and nice. I had problems with no one till now.
Can you talk about a celebrity experience?
So Bobby Deol came,
Okay.
and of course, much before his other things, like when he again had a re-entry into them. So he was the sweetest guy I have ever met.
Really?
Really, never gave me any problem, and so humble, and so of course we handled his diet very well, and he was very happy, and he did very well.
What did he come to you for? Like, do they come
Weight
to you?
loss.
Weight loss.
Weight loss in a good way, and handle their gut issues and other things.
Yes, so we've seen that you've done your dietitian practice for so long. You've been doing what you are doing. I want to ask, how do you make this bigger? What do you do next?
So how we started was, of course, a very small clinic in 2001, maybe say 70 square foot in my husband's office with one person. Then, of course, the team has become more than 50 people. We have 15 nutritionists, 2 doctors. We have a whole range of products, which are snacks, which are very healthy, no palm oil and very clean ingredients. Then we've also, we have our own software, which I developed in 2009 to understand client data, their medical records and everything, and their weight and all their diet charts over the years. So, and then we have launched an app in 2000, I think 2000 or 2019, which clients interface to the client so they can say their 20 years data.
Wow.
Yeah, their blood reports, everything, and they can check in their diet on a daily basis, their weight and the sleep and the exercise. That is another thing we did. Then I wrote a book on diet, which is first book was Don't Diet, Diet Cookbook, which is not into circulation, which was more about recipes. Then I wrote Unchunked, which was recipes and the kind of theory we follow in nutrition. And the recipes are so good that it's gone into 7th or 8th reprint now.
Wow.
Yeah. And all are very tasty. All are like there is pav bhaji and there is vada pav and there is everything is like I literally cook from that recipe book. And all recipes which I have developed over the years. And
Wow.
then we have another book coming on Super Kids, which is about kids nutrition, which I think I forgot to mention, which is teens and children and teens, what should be their diet, what should be checked out by the parents. And now we are coming out with the 4th book, which is going to be on diabetes and the recipes for them and some case studies where India is the diabetic capital of the world. So I thought it is imperative that I write a book like that so that people can get help. When I wrote Unchunked, a lot of people without coming to me have lost weight because there was a whole 7 pages on that where they could follow that and lose weight. It's a cyclical menu had given.
Wow.
So that is supposed to come in September.
Okay, interesting. I'm looking forward to reading it because
Thank you.
really there's so many people that have diabetes or are on the verge of getting diabetes that and it's something that you're saying is preventable or curable. Then
curable and preventable.
Then it should be done, like it's such a health scare to have like
because
diabetes.
Diabetes is the first thing which enters and then it has a lot of brothers sisters which enter together.
Then you get blood pressure, heart problems, all of that happens. Kidney,
skin, eyes, lot of things come with it. So and cancer. So they have found out that maximum number of cancer patients are diabetic.
Oh God.
Yeah. So prevention of diabetes will save you from all lifestyle ailments.
But I've had such a great conversation and we spoke non-stop for so long. And thank you so much for sharing all of these insights. And I feel like so many people could benefit from just knowing.
Not at all. My pleasure. I just want to share knowledge which I've achieved in so many years.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Through your podcast and any other podcast, it can reach 2 million people, which is a great thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming and thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much.